I think I want to title today's video, Dear Nice Guys Who Never Finish It All. You don't finish last, honey. You don't finish it all. Because you have way too many people demanding your energy instead. Spirit has been laying this on my heart all day to talk about this. Anyone who's been watching my channel, you've understood that I've been battling my own karmics. These are what in the spiritual community people call karmics. They're really just people. They're people that, we enabled so long that we kind of forgot we had a choice and we didn't have to spoil them rotten with our energy. We didn't even know. We didn't even know we were doing it. So what Spirit has been laying on my heart today is that these beautiful men coming into union with these beautiful women, or men with men, women with women, whatever. These good-hearted souls that I've been meeting, especially of the male variety, they're so good, they don't even know how good they are. They're so kind, they don't even know how kind they are. They're so beautiful, they don't even know how beautiful they are. And in the moment of duress, in the moment of panic, fear, strife, worry, nervousness that they were going to be abandoned, they promised themselves to, in my experience, a lot of women. Each man I've ever seen, they're doing the same thing. Over-promising to a woman, whether it's their neighbor, their boss, their child, their girlfriend, their wife, it doesn't matter. Their mother, that's like the worst one, really, in my opinion. It's all conditional programming. It's all societal programming. These men are so terrified of what these women will do once they walk away and choose their own happiness. Choose to love somebody that's different than what others would deem appropriate, you know? And for me as a witch, the way I look, my lifestyle, the way I talk, what I do for a living, it's like I just kind of deduced down that I'm gonna be alone forever. And I've even joked about it, like I'll die at 95 alone in the woods with 30 cats. Like I've joked about it, but the more men I meet, the more I'm realizing, like, wow, is that a self-fulfilling prophecy? And these men, they're too good. They're good. They're so good. They want to fulfill their responsibilities. And they're torn. They're torn because they know that I'm right about their boundaries and the level of self-value that they don't have. But then they're torn to go back to their responsibilities because what would the world think? What would the world think if he were to tell his girlfriend, no, I think I'm done today. I think I'm done. I think I want to break up and I think I want someone else instead. You know, and a lot of my viewers that come to me for coaching, same thing. You guys are experiencing this stubbornness in your specific person, your stubbornness, or their stubbornness in deciding you, choosing you. If they choose you, they're choosing themselves. If they choose themselves, they're choosing happiness with you. They're choosing you. But the beautiful men that watch my channel, you're so empathic. You're so sweet. You're so kind. And in the moment of duress and in the moment of fear, of fight or flight, like you were going to be abandoned, you were going to be alone, you were going to have everybody in your religion excommunicate you, right? For loving someone of a different culture. Or some of you who are in biracial relationships, you want what you want. You love what you love. You love that body type. You love that gender. You love that skin type. And others in your family will not get it. They don't have to. You keep replaying over and over and over again that they have to understand it. Because you have signed karmic contracts with these people that I'm going to give you my power and you're going to sit there and hold the key to my prison cell. And that one day when I say, okay, time's up, give me the key. You're thinking that they won't be able to give you the key back. It's very sad. I'm in a very sad space today, very vulnerable. I feel a sadness in my soul that I've never really felt before. These good men, they're so good. They don't want to be accused of something they didn't do. Right? They don't want to find out that their girlfriend accuses them of something that they didn't do. Takes them to court, gets them for everything they've got. Slanders them, blackmails them. Oh, I've got all these pictures and I've got all this from 10 years ago and I've got that, and I bet you anything I can gossip about this and tell them this and this. It's like these good men, they forget that they are innocent. It's almost like there's been so many projections onto you that you forget like you never actually did that stuff. Like you're not actually a monster at all. You're actually quite innocent. But the real problem is that you've not had anybody come into your life who understands the law of the universe, who understands that there's a spiritual court when the 3D courts fail you. When God's people, the innocent ones, the chosen ones, the ones that work for God, the ones that are pure unconditional love, these empaths, these empathic men, these good human divine masculines, when the system fails you, you haven't found yet in another person expressing to you that God won't fail you. You haven't seen that yet. That there is a spiritual court that supersedes any of the 3D judicial systems on the planet. Because that shit is corrupt as fuck. These karmics, tyrannical as fuck, narcissistic as fuck. And it's not your fault that you didn't know you were enabling them. It's not your fault that you would drop everything at the drop of a hat for them and not even think of yourself at all. You're just that empathic. You're just that sweet. You don't want them in pain. That's how beautiful you are. You understand? You're so sweet that they took advantage of your sweetness. And then you meet somebody who comes in like a wrecking ball and just shatters every belief you've ever had, really, about a woman. About energy exchange, what giving and receiving looks like, not just giving. And then all your fears come to the surface, and then there's a fear threshold, and then you can't make the decision because there's all these what ifs. But what if though, Jenna? But like, what if? What if I'm excommunicated? What if I like have to leave my entire community? What if everybody hates us? Here's the thing that Spirit was telling me. So what you're really afraid of, and this is God's honest truth, this is the truth here. What you're really afraid of is seeing that they do not want you happy. What you want makes you happy. Someone of a different ethnicity, someone of a different culture, someone in a different body shape, someone a different career choice. Something that you want makes you happy. And truth be told, what you're really, really, truly afraid of is finding out those you love do not love you. Those you love do not want you happy. Those you want happy and sacrificed everything for do not want you happy. If it doesn't fit within their paradigm, if it doesn't fit within their construct. That's what you're truly afraid to figure out. That's what you're afraid to see. If someone would falsely accuse you of doing something you did not do, in an effort to keep you from the one that you love, that person really doesn't have love in their heart, do they? They're not really choosing love. They're not really working for the light. That is the truth. But instead of facing that truth, a lot of these good men would instead throw something good away that could help heal their soul, nurture them, ascend them, unite them with God, bring them back into their divinity, realize their truth, realize their worth, and it's like, what's a girl to do? What's a girl to do but walk away, you know? Once I found out that I am an energy source, once I discovered that I truly am a light being, like I have an overabundance of light, I can tune into source. I am source. So I am the fertility of some project, of some person, of some relationship or something. I can give something so much that it either builds a false empire, it builds an ego, it builds a structure for the matrix, or it builds a man up and empowers him, makes him realize that he is God, makes women know that they are goddesses. It could do one of two things. And so what's a girl to do but leave? She has to leave. A divine feminine has to leave. Because I'll be damned, quite literally, I will be damned again and again and again and again, and suffering, if I keep pouring my beautiful energy into someone who is so afraid of ruffling feathers because of how they look and appear in society, in their family, in their religion, in their, and so I have to leave. And it's such a lonely road. It really is. It's so lonely. I get so lonely sometimes. Like, I mean, I've been in solitude for, well, I divorced in 2019, so it's been about 4.5 years. And one of the hardest things in this spiritual community is dating. Because then you meet men who are either so spiritual and they're like as spiritually awakened as you, but then there's like this false persona. Like, they're not really awakened or enlightened, most of them that I've met. They've just absorbed knowledge and they know how to like emulate awakenedness, like awakened enlightenment. They don't really know how to be enlightened or act enlightened, or just, I don't know, just be themselves. They have to like present themselves a certain way in order to be liked by a spiritual woman. I don't know. Or then you've got the other end of the spectrum where men aren't spiritual at all and they don't realize any of this. Any of it. And so then you go to try to tell them something and it's like, wow, you know so much more than me. So they get freaked and they leave. I don't care that I know more than you. I want to help you realize you already know the truth. You know everything. And I don't know more than you. If I can activate your soul and get you into a higher consciousness, I don't actually know more than you. You will realize you know more than you used to. But a lot of men don't choose this. I'm sad today. My soul is sad. Like, my soul is sad. I didn't think that was possible. I have like this soul sadness that it's not that I don't trust God. I know God would lead me to the right one, but it's almost like God is just as sad as me and like kind of throwing his hands up like, I don't know, Jenna. I thought this would have been the one. I don't know, Jenna. The next one too. I don't know. God and I are both at this point, like, if free will exists, then I think he and I are disappointed in the free will choices that these men keep making in my life. Like, I'm giving us all the potential in the world, Jenna, but you know, I'm sad at a soul level today. Just to know that every man I've ever loved has been stolen away from me by a woman that didn't deserve him, didn't even appreciate him, didn't even acknowledge him, didn't even try to empower him at any given point, didn't even try. Just stripped him of his power. Made him want to believe that he was under her spell and like, you have to do this. You have to jump when I say how high. Oh, you don't want to? Bet. I dare you. I dare you to tell me no. Watch what happens. Watch what comes out on the news. Watch what I publish on my blog. Watch what I send to Twitter. What these heinous, distorted feminines. These heinous, distorted energies, they are diabolical. And that's why I've been okay. Literally, I mean, I left my mother because of that. I left my entire family because I could not watch them be abused by someone so tyrannical. Like, down to a point where I had 67 cents to my name and I was buying discounted beans crawling on the floor at the grocery store, literally to buy discounted beans. And she was showing up in my dreams saying, oh, come back, live on my couch, do this. We'll be happy again. We can do that. I literally had to tell the devil, fuck off, so many times that it led to my poverty. Yeah. The 3D world looks like shit for me. But the internal world, I'm happy. I'm content. Normally, until today, genuinely, I would say 85% of the day pretty okay. Today, there's a soul burning fear that I had that, holy shit, this is real. I'm like going to be alone forever. Men don't choose me. And I've had this assumption so long that it's playing out in the 3D. But again, if I change that stance to men always choose me. Men always choose me. And, I start affirming differently. It will change. It will change. I will be someone's top priority. But man, first you have to, as a woman, really acknowledge, like, I was given up for adoption at 2 years old by my dad. And then I was abused every single day by my stepdad. I was never chosen by a man. And then I was divorced. Like women like me have never been chosen by a man ever. Not until we choose us, ladies. We have to choose us first. Like, even if a man is like, oh, well, it's it's my ex and she's calling and it's this, or it's my job and it's this and it's, okay, I gotta go by. Like, you have to love yourself so much that you give your energy to you and you become your own man. And until that happens, and until you choose you every single day, every minute, religiously, to a point where you're even villainized and demonized and gossiped about. My whole family talks about me. Until you get to that point where you're like, I don't care. I literally don't care what anybody says. I love me. I was always worthy of a man in my life, even from age 2. I certainly, as an infant, did not do something wrong to deserve abandonment. You have to get to that point, ladies, where we love ourselves so much that we say no to everything that isn't equal to that. And it's lonely. It's lonely. And yeah, until you know the laws of the universe, especially the law of assumption for me lately, like the law of assumption has been saving my life. Learning more about that, discovering the law of assumption, not the law of attraction, but the law of assumption. It's been helping me so much in my manifestation. But until you know, until you have knowledge of the laws of the universe, you're at the mercy of whoever thinks they can control you. And it used to be men who were never really in it to win it. They were only 50-50, like half in, half out. I'll give to her, yeah, but then like I'll call you like maybe once a week. How's that? How's that? That's real shit. And no, that's a no. That's gonna be a negatory for me. That's gonna be a negative. Absolutely not. That's like a no. I'd rather pull away, be single, and call myself every fucking second. I'd rather call myself beautiful as I look in the mirror. I'd rather pull my energy back and look at my money and be like, wow, you are sexy as fuck. I'd rather look at my clients and be like, girl, you're going to get exactly what you want because you believe that much. I'd rather heal people than enablers. I watched my grandfather, whom I love so much and who's actually a spirit guide of mine, and he helps me a lot on the other side. But I watched him enable my grandmother, and she had bipolar, schizophrenia, manic depression. She was on, I would say, like 10 to 12 medications at any given time throughout my childhood. And I never got to see that man empower himself. He kept giving his power to her. And she became so narcissistic. I didn't even go to her funeral because I was just like, towards the end of her life, I just saw way too much. I was waking up and I just saw way too much about like what she became because of all the energy he exuded into her, pouring into her, pouring into her, pouring into her. And it's like, he could not give anything really to anyone else. And it's sad. He was by far the best man that I've ever met. Like, he had the kindest heart, most gentle. Every Friday, he would bring home flowers for her after work. She didn't work. She was on disability since she had so many mental issues. So she didn't work. And he would bring home so many flowers, like bouquets of flowers, like her favorite food. And he was just so cute. And then they'd go on a date on like Friday or Saturday. And they were just, on the outside, it looked cute. She would tell everybody, isn't he so sweet? He got me flowers. I'm going on a date. But that man was fried. He was fried. He died early. He died way too young. He was fried. He didn't love himself enough to tell her no. So was it really love or was it codependency? And that's the real truth here. None of us are getting that frequency of heaven. It's not changing its standard unless we put ourselves first. I'm sorry. That's why my favorite card in the entire tarot deck is the Magician. A lot of people might call me selfish for this, but the Magician is in the Major Arcana, the number 1 card. It's Roman numeral 1. Very independent, very all about you, self-sufficient, cares about me, myself, and I. And I know that as soon as you say it, oh, that's such a selfish Jezebel thing to say, or whatever. I don't know. People have called me so many things. But I'm just like, is it selfish though? Or is it just selfless? Because if I don't have energy for me, how can I ever give to you? If I don't have self-love for me, how can I ever love you unconditionally? If I don't tell you no, I don't love myself. Because you shouldn't be getting away with the things you're getting away with. And if I don't tell you, who the hell is? The girl that's attached to your hip? You think she's gonna ever be the one to tell you no? The thing with these kind men, they're so sweet. Do you think these women are gonna be the first to leave you? Why? Why would they? They have an energetic buffet right in front of them. Why would they ever leave you? I think men are so beautiful, and I think they know that these women are going to chase them down, and they don't know how to energetically handle that. They don't know. Saying no is one thing, but staying no, totally different. To a point where like you offend them, then they get these like threats, oh, I'm going to do something stupid, I bet. Yeah. Tell me no, I dare you. Wow. Remember that one time you told me to fuck off? Yeah, I bet your mom would love that. Remember that text, that screenshot one time that I saved because you told me like rotten hell? Ooh, yeah, I bet your family and your Christian roots would love that. It's like that is such a sign to the devil, honey. Like, oh God. And I think that's what these men are so afraid to find out. The one you love more than life itself does not love you. And women like me come in and highlight that for you. And you think you can push us away. You think you can. But how many of you are still watching me? And we've broken up a long time ago. I mean, psychically, I have my inclinations. I don't think any of these men would ever admit to that, but really, how many people from your past, ladies, are still watching you and still following your journey and still watching you along this path, this journey, because you know deep down, they know you're right. These men are too good for their own good. They promised these things out of duress. And when they were in a state of unenlightenment, they were in a state of they were asleep. We were all spiritually asleep. We were all of us across the entire fucking planet living under the veil of consciousness. We didn't know. And so we meet these people who are like, but like, don't leave me though, because I have abandonment wounds. And because we don't want them in pain, we don't want them to ever feel abandoned because they felt abandoned their entire life, we self-sacrifice. And we're like, okay, sure, I'll never leave you. Yeah, I'll never leave. Don't worry. It's okay. I'm never going to leave you. I'm never going to leave you. I'm never going to leave you. And before we know it, we've enabled their behavioral patterns, their distortion. And then we wonder why our life is shit. It's because, energetically speaking, like the divine can't even bless us because we're getting in the way of someone's karma. Like, we are literally getting in the way of people going to God. Like, literally finding out that abandonment can't happen. Instead of them sitting down for 5 minutes and meditating and going within and being like, wait, where'd that childhood trauma come from? Or like, why am I clinging on to him like that? Or why is he rejecting me? Am I really that bad? Am I really that evil? Do I really do toxic things? We just keep enabling these people with our energy, our compassion, our forgiveness, our over and over and over. And then we've built their false empire. We've spoiled them rotten. Terrified of what they might do, lest we ever say no. Like, even just like not answer their call one time. World War III, oh my God. And I know, I used to be that girl. Literally, I got threatened with boot camp so many times as a child. I was an angry, rebellious kid. So angry. I lashed out. I was abusive as hell. I'm embarrassed to admit that. I was so abusive in so many ways. I even had to go to an alternative school. It was that or juvie. I didn't have a choice. So I went to an alternative school for troubled youth. And as I was there, I started realizing, like, I'm not really that troubled. I'm just highly sensitive. And I'm being thrown around by a lot of karmic energies that have their claws in me, feeding on me, feeding on my energy. So I understand all too well what it's like to be that rebellious girl that just wants attention and just wants somebody to love her. So, like, yells at the top of her lungs, throws things, slams doors. Fuck you, don't ever talk to me again. You never even loved me. Oh my God, that was like the thing for me. I always said that. I always did that. Like, you never even loved me at all. Because somebody was telling me no. I needed that no so badly. Like, as a girl growing up, I really wish I would have been told no more often. But I couldn't. My parents were not very strong in that way. Like, they couldn't actually discipline me. And so I kind of turned into a bully. I'm the one that had to actually tell myself no for the first time. Like, I had to be my mom. I had to be my dad. So these men, they're just so sweet and they don't want to tell these women no. Like, no, I am not paying for your Louis Vuitton anymore. No. No, I'm not going to church anymore because I don't believe in it. No, I'm not voting for that party anymore just because you do. No. No, I'm not agreeing that your cooking is good. I actually think you secretly poison it and hurt me with it. Which actually, by the way, one of the biggest things that I've learned in spiritual warfare is that you can set intentions over food and hurt somebody. And I don't even want to say that out loud, but it's already happening. Like, people that set intentions over food, you know the type. They're super angry and they just like throw your food in front of you like, I hope it's good. All the while you eat it and you're like, you get sick. It's like, intentions are real. Energy is real. And that's another thing. It's like, what I really want is a man that hasn't been perverted by spiritual beliefs in the spiritual community. I kind of want a man who's like, I'm willing to learn, and he trusts his own intuition that what I'm teaching him is right. And that if what I say doesn't sit right with him, he goes and learns it himself. That's what I'm about. I don't want a fucking sheep. I don't want somebody who is just like, I don't want an echo chamber. I don't want to be a cult leader. I want people who are thinking for themselves to be following along my journey. I do not want a freaking hive mind, especially with a man. And it's like, I know deep down, though, that I have to have someone who's not already been polluted by this spiritual community that, God, we all are thankful for, but deep down, secretly, we think is kind of tainted. And so then you meet somebody who doesn't really know about this spiritual stuff at all, willing to learn. I love that. I love that so much in divine masculines. They're so willing to learn, and they're expressive about it too. And they're like, oh my God, I really do want to know more about that. Can you teach me about that? And they're very expressive and so ambitious to learn. Like, that's like their favorite thing to do is learn. Just like the divine feminine, that was your favorite thing to do is learn who's hurting your energy, learn energy dominance of your own life, learn boundaries, learn reiki, learn whatever, right? Learn the laws of the universe. In the same way that a high priestess learns, a high priest is learning too. And that's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing about divine masculines. They just want to know. They just want truth. Until it comes down to a point where the truth that you have to face is that the one you love more than life itself is really your Judas. Person you love and you've given, your best friend, your mom, the one that you talk to like 5 hours a day, that one. And that was the hardest thing for me on this journey. Everybody was like, oh, well, you have to leave people behind to get to you have to leave them. Okay. But like, there was always that one for me, and it was my mom. We were best friends, and I was like, no, everybody but her. No, it's this one. But then you get to the bottom of the barrel, and you're like, oh my God. You know the big boss in video games, like the one that you have to overcome to get to, like, to finish the game, really? I was like, oh my God, it's her. She's like the big boss. But it's not really her. It's me. It's me that sees her like that I'm destroying. I'm destroying my own karmic self. I'm destroying the distorted femininity within me. And it's just playing out in the 3D, like women changing, women leaving my life, women healing, women being more empathic and kind and sweet. And then when that changes, when the distorted feminine within us changes, divine masculines will start to sense the difference between a real, true divine feminine and a karmic feminine. And what I've been noticing in my relationships is that when that dynamic, the dichotomy, the duality of like divine feminine, distorted feminine, when it gets to be too much, when they see the bridge, when they see the gap and it's that big, it's that wide, that's when fear kicks in. When it's that obvious, that's when fear kicks in. It's not subtle anymore. It's not subtle. These men meeting their divine feminines, it's not subtle. It's not subtle. Nothing about you is subtle. Your divinity, not subtle. Subtle. We have 33 minutes, 3 seconds. So in tarot, the number 3 is the Empress. The divine feminine, your energy is not subtle. So when they see that, compared to every single other woman in their life, it's not subtle, and there's going to be a huge fear factor that comes up. It is that threshold that they have to get over. And sadly, and I hate to say this, but I've just experienced it so much in my life, that I feel like they have to take care of it alone. They have to deal with it alone. So that's why I insist a lot of times that women pull their energy back. Give it to yourself again. When you have that much energy, you can timeline shift so much easier. And I find when you shift and you raise your vibrations that much, that you naturally bring in the version of them that's already gone through an ego death to match you at that level. Like, you'll bring their higher version in because you are now your higher version, and like attracts like. So I actually am one of very few people on the spiritual YouTube, I think, that believes in the law of assumption and the law of attraction. Both. I think they're actually both real. Just like I think the law of gravity is real too. One doesn't negate the other. But it's I definitely find the law of assumption to be so much more beneficial in my life. But I just wanted to talk to these men today and tell you that you are so loved. You're so loved. Even when you reject your feminine, even though you did reject your feminine, even when your feminine knows you've rejected your feminine your entire life, it wasn't your fault. None of it was your fault. You have to let go of guilt. You have to let go of that shame. We all lived in this 3D matrix, this very dense, low vibrational planet, like a prison planet. We were all here doing stupid shit under the veil of consciousness, right? Unconditional love means unconditional. You have to love yourself unconditionally enough to say, yeah, Jen, I fucked up. I fucked up for like years and years and years and years. Great, start there. That's a great place to start. Go to God. Sit your ass down for 5 minutes, meditate, go to God, go to your higher self and be like, all right, look, what the fuck was I doing? You don't have to feel guilt for that. You gave your power away to someone external of you out of a sense of duress, a sense of like panic and fear and worry. Oh, well, see, if I don't call right away, she's, you know, she might, I don't know. She might do something, huh? She might accuse me of something. It's a really deranged, sick fucking world where men can't even feel safe to break up with a girl. It's just sad. It's sad. And I was that girl for so long. I was that girl that would have put a man on a guilt trip instantly. How dare you tell me no? What do you mean you're breaking up with me? I doubt it, buddy. And then I would just be all manipulative as fuck, super narcissistic, and exploit the shit out of him. I'm embarrassed to say this, guys, but I am telling you through my own experience, like, I know what it's like to be a distorted feminine. I also know what it's like to be a divine feminine. I much prefer the latter. I will tell you one thing, it was a lot easier to have men as a distorted feminine. And when I say have men, I mean trap men. I mean convince them that, you know, they ain't shit and I'm above them in some way. That was easier. But when it comes to actually having compassion and like communication and fellowship and like healing with the man, yeah, no, it's way better to be a divine feminine. To actually get what I want and need from a man, way better to be a divine feminine than a distorted banshee idiot. And I know all too well what it's like to be that. In my marriage, I was with him 8.5 years. I still regret the way I was to him. I was abusive in so many ways. I was more abusive to him than he was to me. Truth, facts. And the way that I was, it was so bad that's why when I had my near-death experience in 2019, I actually went to hell. I was already in hell. Hell and heaven it's a frequency. And I already was there. So that's where the fuck I was going after death too. So when I died, I went to hell, literally, and hated it there so much that I begged and pleaded, source, God, consciousness, whatever you call it, let me go back, please, I'll make up for this. I knew that I had killed a man's soul. I knew that in all that time, 8 years, I had wrecked a man's soul by enabling him, telling him yes all the time, but then arguing with him when he told me no, and just this really, really distorted dynamic. And I got to come back. And 3 months later, we divorced. It was like 5 months later. I guess it was 5 months, yeah. But we were going through the proceedings and sleeping in different bedrooms, and I was going through my healing ascension. I had just waken up to my gifts. I had my psychic gifts now. I was starting to learn and practice divination and learn about the occult. It was really, really intense, a wake-up call from hell. And I remember on the other side, I was told by God, like, no, you work for me now. You'll go back. Sure, I'll let you go back. But you work for me now. You understand? Okay, sure, fine, yeah. Sure. Because obviously, I'm not doing something right if I'm killing man's souls out here. I loved him too much. I loved him so much that I had to let him go. I loved him so much that I outgrew him and let him go have his own karmic girlfriend. While I was still living there, he actually met someone, took her on vacation, went and visited her, was intimate with her. Like that was the hardest thing for me. We were still technically married, and he met another girl who later, after we divorced, he moved in with. So it was like, wow, it was really tough. That was the hardest time of my entire life. I would never wish that on my worst enemy. But I knew that I could not stay in hell. I couldn't keep that behavior up, that pattern, that lifestyle. I could not do that anymore. So now when I see women doing that to men, it grinds my gears so fucking bad. I'm telling you right now. I, as God is my witness, nothing on the planet makes me more angry than to watch a bitter, self-indulgent, self-entitled brat of a woman hurting an innocent man. Nothing makes me more angry than that. And nothing makes me want to go within myself to destroy more of that distortion within myself, so that women like that fade out. Bye, no energy left, you're not my reality, adios, I don't have to ever see you again. It makes me want to do so much more healing. Like, not healing as in like I want to discover more like about myself that's not healed. I just want to remove that part of me that keeps validating her existence. You don't exist. Bye. No third party. Bye. You don't exist. Toxic karmic women, you don't exist. The only women that exist in his future are kind, loving, treats him like a king. That's it. That's it. And so, Jenna, that means the same for you. You're not going to be in a divine masculine's life unless you're doing those exact things. Nurturing him, respecting his boundaries, offering him free will to do whatever he wants to do, not forcing him to do something. And again, guys, the reason I am this way now is because I watched as I basically ended a man's soul in a marriage. I'm never going. I vowed I'll stay single for the next million fucking lifetimes, rather than ever go back and be that girl again. That girl is dead. That's why my family doesn't really, they try to cling on so much, because they don't realize I'm dead. They don't realize I died. In 2019, their daughter is dead. Their daughter died in 2019. Literally, I mean, that soul is gone. That soul is not me. I'm a soul walk-in. If you've ever heard about soul walk-ins, it's when a soul agrees to take over a body completely and from that day forward become that person. I'm not that girl. That's why I don't resonate with that life at all. And yeah, my family just never understood it. They didn't understand at a conscious level how drastically I changed, and they became shocked. Like, so shocked, and they didn't want to mourn their daughter and admit the fact that she's dead, that they clung on to me. Like, kept trying to cling on. But I'm not your daughter, though. I'm not your daughter. I'm not your ex-wife. I'm not your ex's. I'm not her. Nobody really knows it, because in 2019 when I died, it's like I've been a hermit for 4.5. Nobody really knows that I'm not them. I'm not her. Nobody knows that, really. In fact, as people watch my channel, they're only discovering it as I'm discovering it. Like, I even changed my name. My real name used to be Jennifer, but I'm Jenna. So even my name, everything about me is different. I don't even have the same allergies. I don't have the same likes, same dislikes. I don't have the same personality, the same eye shape. I don't have everything has changed for me because I'm a different soul. But my family didn't realize that. So they clung on for dear life. So I understand all too well what these men are facing. These men right now that are trying to ascend, all these women are like clawing at them, moms and grandmas and sisters, but you promised me this though, and don't leave me because you're the only man we have. I remember with my husband, like, his mom, he was the only child, and his mom was abandoned when he was a baby, so like she became almost a wife to him. It was really sick. It was like incestual in a way. It was very wrong to witness, and I couldn't even stomach it after my near-death experience because I didn't know it was happening until I was dead. Like, until I came back, I didn't actually see shit. I wasn't even psychic. Once I saw that she had basically replaced her husband with her son, I was like, God, no, this is bad. I'm leaving. I had to. That's why I was like totally okay with him meeting this woman. And I was like, whatever. Okay, fine. If she makes you happy, fine. Because I knew I had to get out. So I'm not here to coddle you, enable you. You're a divine masculine. I have tons of divine masculines watching me now, which is so new because it was really only women who were watching me for the longest time. And all of a sudden, because I've dealt with my karmic femininity so much, now all of a sudden divine masculines can be in my life in a profound way. And so now I have all these men that are watching my channel now. And so I really want a message for you right now. I want to tell you something. You are beautiful. You're beautiful. You promised something to a whole bunch of women in your life because you knew that they didn't have any man to rely on. And you sacrificed so long because you knew that you were the only man they could rely on. And so you gave of yourself to a point of depletion, to a point of exhaustion where you don't even really know thyself anymore because now all you know are like 10 women clawing at you and you just know them. You don't know you. You know them. And you can't tell your energy from their energy. And then someone comes in to highlight for you who you are versus who they are. And it's up to you. Do you want to choose you? Because choosing you will probably mean excommunication from your church. Choosing you will probably be that your mom hates that your new girlfriend is a different ethnicity than you. Or that your boss can't stand that you want to take time off of work sometimes to go start your own business. Or that your friend who was so used to you doing rideshare, you just suddenly say, I'm sorry, man, I can't pick you up anymore. And there's no explanation, it's just I don't want to. People are not going to be happy with your boundaries, but we have to ask ourselves, why do we care so much? Who's happy with us? 8 billion people on the planet could be unhappy with me, and if I'm still happy with me, I'm winning, and I'm totally fine with it. I have to live with me 24/7. 8 billion people, they get 5 minutes of my day. Do you think that I care if 8 billion people hate my guts? Nope. Literally don't. I don't live for them. I live for me. And I know that that's a very controversial topic. One of my exes, his best friend told me once, you might have him under your spell. You might think that he can worship you, but I'm not worshiping you. And I remember as soon as he said it, he's like, oh, we're not worshiping you. I was like, bruh, I don't ask for worship. Just because he likes me and wants to tell me I'm beautiful and tell me I'm amazing and what I would consider worship. I do consider that worship. I was like, yeah, I self-worship. I love myself. I tell myself I'm beautiful, I'm powerful, I'm sexy, I'm abundant, I'm rich, I'm great, I'm amazing, I'm perfect. I was like, just because I do it and he wants to mimic that back doesn't mean that I would ever ask that of you. I don't even freaking know you, bro. So I remember, his best friend was just like, well, we're not worshiping you here. And it was like his whole group of friends. Like, they were like, nah, fuck that. Again, karmic energy. And so what I really want to ask men right now, what do you want to do? Maybe no one ever asked that of you. What is it you would like? Do you want that person from a different country that practices a different religion because you're so into their soul and you know that they're the one for you? Why don't you have that? Why aren't you giving yourself that? Do you want to practice divination and learn about the occult or the paranormal because shit's happening to you and maybe you're just intrigued by it. Maybe things aren't even happening. You're just intrigued by it. But like you have a really religious family that's not about it. Go be happy. Do what you want. That's all I offer. That's all I do right now in my life is I offer people freedom. I offer people a mirror. Look at how you're not free. You are not free. Here's the mirror. You're not free. You could take it or leave it. But I will be free nonetheless. it gets lonely being free sometimes. It gets lonely being free. It does. All I want to do is offer what God offered me in 2019, a chance at liberation to everyone. But that liberation, for me, it was 4.5 years of pure motherfucking torture. Okay? And I'm just now seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So who the fuck knows how long it would be for you? I don't know. I don't know your story. I don't know where you're at on this timeline. All I know is the same God that offered that to me, when he said, you now work for me, he, she, it, we, they, there's no gender. It was a consciousness. It was just a voice. It was an entity. It was a consciousness. It was an awareness. That thing that offered me the freedom wants me to work for it, to offer you the freedom. I've been demonized, labeled so many heinous things. Devil worshiper, leading people to hell, leading to cult, all that shit. I mean, you name it. It's whatever. It's whatever. I can literally, I love myself so much. I sit with myself 24 hours a day and I love me. I know that no matter what people say, I'm amazing. And any man in my life, he would have to agree with that sentiment. He would have to say, no matter what my family says, she's amazing. And I choose her. I will always choose her. I'll choose you too. But you have to choose you. And you have to choose me. This is my life, my love. This is what I want. And if you don't like that, well, then there's the door, I suppose. But I think so many men, another fear that a lot of you have is like how quick and easy you would probably say goodbye to these people. Like how effortlessly the door would swing and you would just be like, well, bye. I think you're afraid as well that women like me would take the flack for that. Oh, she's just ruining his life. She's changing him so drastically. Wow. He's just going to let me walk out like that? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, that is correct. Because you haven't chosen love. Because love would want someone to be happy. Love would want someone to choose whatever they want to choose. Sometimes, guys, that even means addictions. That could be habits as well. If God offers us all free will to choose evil things or good things, we're allowed to choose. And if you claim to be a being of light, if you claim to be a being of love, and you work for the Most High, then you have to also give people that level of free will to decide. Are you going to choose them or are you going to choose me? And if you have free will. And if you want to choose them, that's okay. But I will be moving along and I will be going to the reality where we're already together and you've already made those necessary arrangements for our soul to ascend, especially for twin flames, because you are the same soul for twins. So I'm only here, literally, I'm only here for God anymore. I in 2019, when you die like that, you don't live for you anymore. I live for God. I'm only here because of God. I'm only here because that consciousness gave me a second chance. And I love it so much. I love whatever that thing is, whatever that consciousness is, that higher awareness that helped me discover my toxic traits so I don't ever abuse another man. I don't ever hurt another person. I love that thing so much that I will devote every single time, minute, dollar, everything to that consciousness, to that Christ consciousness. I'll give everything to God. My mind, my body, my soul, my time, my business, my living arrangements, my relationships, my everything. And if somebody else can't match that level of love for God, then they're not for me. That's fine. I'm starting to be okay with that. I mean, there's a soul-breaking yearning, but I will be okay with it. I'll have to be. I'll have to be content in my own energy. I'll have to be content on my own, just going to God continually. But again, I died. I am not the same girl. And I feel like truly my twin flame is not the same man. And he will be going through a massive awakening in that people around him will soon be discovering that he's not the same man either. Like mine might have been really shifting like overnight, but in a way I think his will be too once I activate him. I think that he'll be seeing the same thing. People around him will be like, wow, why are you changing so much? Why'd you change so fast? Why'd you say that? That's weird. You have that like now? That's weird. You're into women like that? What? Tarot cards. What? Talking about God and some. What? What? Magic. Law of stuff. What? It's just going to blow people's minds, and it's okay. May their minds be blown. It does not matter anymore what those around you think of you. It now matters what you think of you, because you are God. Ye are gods. And if you don't care what you think of you, then you don't care what God thinks of you. You're only caring about what worldly people think of you? Okay, but you're not free. You'll never be free. You'll only wear what they tell you to wear. You'll only date who they tell you to date. You'll only eat what they tell you to eat. You're not free then. You're not really truly free in Christ then. My soul hurts today. My soul hurts. Because this like wishy-washy back and forth, like right there in that middle, you know, it's like ladies, you know that you're like awakening them and they're seeing the truth. But then on the other hand, there's like that the next day when you're just like ghosted and abandoned and rejected, and then you have to go fill in the gaps yourself, and you have to go like heal yourself and love yourself and be like, no, it's okay, what you did was right. It's just that moment, you know, in time where you're waking up your twin, but they're also resisting you and rejecting you at the same time. And then you have to remember, like, you did that too. You did that when you became enlightened. When you as a high priestess started to go to God, that's what happened to you. One day you'd be like, oh yeah, okay, I can leave that. Not a big deal. That addictive trait, that quality that I used to do to him. Oh yeah, no, I'm done. You could do that, and then the next day you'd find another trait that you do and really go all in on that. You'd sacrifice some things, but not another. So we have to have empathy and compassion, and we have to hold a lot of space for our divine masculines right now. But these men, I tell you, beautiful. Such good-hearted men, such kind guys. They would do anything for anyone, and they know it. And they know it, and others around them know it too. That's the whole problem. They were self-sacrificial. I mean, they were sacrificial lambs, if you think about it. Lambs are innocent. They were literally sacrificial lambs in all of these dynamics at their church, right? In their family, at their job. They're the ones that's always called for overtime. They work 70 hours a week, and then they're fried. They have no energy for themselves. Sacrificial. And I don't think they know how yet to trust a high priestess or a divine feminine that can get them out of that, because I think a deep intrinsic fear that a lot of these men face is like having everyone hate the divine feminine. Yeah, like getting called a witch or something, like, oh, he's listening to that witch. Oh, she's just out here changing him. All of a sudden he's just a totally different guy. He's under her spell. It's a hypnosis. It's, you know what I mean? That was like one fear I think a lot of men had. They were worried that everybody would come at me, and they were trying to keep me safe from that, so they would just let me go. But the beauty of now me knowing who I am is like, people already do that, and I'm not even in a relationship. People already do that to me online all the time. People already villainize me. People already call me that wicked witch. People already call me a Satanist and a demon worshiper and a Jezebel and all this, they already call me that. And I'm still thriving. I'm loving life. I love myself. I love others. I love God. So yeah, even if their entire family hates me or all their friends villainize me, it's like, okay, I still love him though. And he still loves me though. So take your problem elsewhere. If it's not unconditional love, it's not allowed in a twin flame union, period. And so divine masculines, I think what Spirit is wanting me to ask you right now is, are you willing to defend this even when everyone wants you to cater to them, to cater to their needs? Are you willing to give an enormous amount of energy to your union and the collective? Because I think also what you need to realize is a true divine feminine is hella strong. The strongest woman or man you'll ever meet. And so I think you'll need to realize that you're not as alone as you think you are in combating jealous karmic energies. You're not as alone as you think. A true divine feminine who has gone to God, purified her soul, made herself ready as the bride of Christ. I'm telling you right now, there's no one stronger on the planet. So you're not going to be as alone as you think. And that's where the fear can subside. But only if you choose it. And so I guess to every divine masculine watching me at this time, like, very soon you're going to see the separation of the wheat from the tares. The good ones from the sour apples, okay? The ones that have really, really fallen, become enabled, spoiled brats. Sorry, that is karmic as fuck. That is karmic behavior. You're going to see it, and then you're going to see the divine ones, whoop, rise up. And I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's already happening. It's momentum on the planet. It's the time for the Great Awakening. You can't stop it. You could take out one or two messengers here and there, but like the message is still the same. And the movement is still the same. And the ascension, the rapture, it's still the same. So you're going to have to shake off karmic contracts and codependencies on women that, I don't care who they are. I don't care how long you've known them. I don't care how much you claim that you're responsible for them even. You're not. They are responsible for themselves as sovereign beings. Unless they're like, 2 years old, and it's different. You have a kid, it's 2 years old. And you know what I'm saying? But even still, boundaries are needed in that regard as well as that child grows up. You'll still need to put so much more energy, love, compassion into you first before you can have that for someone else. And that's where we're at as a planet. If you don't love you unconditionally, no one else can. No one else can be around you. No one of high quality and high value can be around you. So you'll have to make a decision soon, guys. All the divine masculines that I read for, like that I'm channeling messages for, you'll have to make a decision soon. Not time to lollygag. You either decide or we'll decide for you. Because the divine, you are divine. Like, you work for God. Whether you believe that or not, whether you've seen proof of it or not, whether you have even believed so far in seeing the divinity of yourself or, you are God. So there is nothing outside of you. You are God. So unless you know that truth, if you once you realize that ye are gods, there will be no one able to convince you ever again that you're not. Therefore, you will want to live such a selfish life where you have all your needs met. You get to do what you want, when you want, how you want, if you want, for as long as you want, with whom you want. Because you're holy, because you're divine, because you are God, and it's your reality. And if others don't like that, well, the universe will be having them leave your life. And I think that is a major fear a lot of these men face. A lot of them don't want to be looking like an abandoner, Yeah, well, I know my ex-girlfriend, if I'm with you, she'll just leave my life, and probably. Yeah. Vibrationally speaking, you'll just have less and less time with her, probably. She won't call as much, or she won't, beg you to go out for drinks as much, or whatever. Like, you just won't have those interactions as much. It's not that her as a person is just like leaving the universe. It's just that you're not going to be vibrationally matched to have her in your life as often. And I think that really freaks a lot of men out. That really scares a lot of men. They don't want people to view them as like a bad person in letting go of their mom or their boss or whatever. But you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to realize that you've already outgrown them. They're shifting out of your reality, whether you like it or not. My opinion, as a girl who had everyone shift out of her reality, my opinion, I would just accept it. It's a lot less painful that way. Unless you're a glutton for punishment. Do what you're gonna do, I suppose. If you're a glutton for punishment, then do it. But yeah, overall, I would just suggest going with the flow and letting the universe choose love for you and get out everything that isn't love. You'll just like see that boss less at work, and they'll take off like a month, you know. Maybe it's your last month, and then ironically they're like taking a month off work or something. It's like, what? How'd that work? And it's like that. It's just as natural as that. It's going to be natural. It's going to make sense. The law of assumption. You are manifesting what is going to make sense. Like, it has to make sense to you linearly. So, but a lot of men are like, but I have a responsibility, and I think people would hate me for being an abandoner. Really, the only person you're abandoning is your soul. You're abandoning you. That's the truth. You're abandoning you, not them. The universe will do something to make that person like not like you as much, or maybe, you know, they'll find a new soulmate, maybe, you know, or they'll go on a vacation and like just you won't even see them anymore, or they'll get a different department or a different shift. Whatever it is, it's not going to be as painful as you think it is. A lot of you are living in fear, and you're perpetuating that fear cycle. You keep thinking of the middle instead of the end. Think of the end result. Happiness, joy. Oh, they're out of my life. They're out of my life. Yes, that is joy. That is supposed to be joy. When a karmic person leaves your life, you are supposed to be happy. But again, a lot of you men are so compassionate. You're so kind, and you're so loving and generous that you just can't stand the idea of outside external people judging you for wanting that space, for wanting to break up with her, for wanting, and then on the other hand, you have this fear that when you leave, there'll be some sort of exploitation of you in some way, some violation, some slander, or her sharing your pictures, or going after you for alimony or higher child support or something, you know, like that. It's like that fear, though, you have to realize that's you giving your power away again to her, instead of you realizing you are a co-creator with source. Like, you are the creator of your own reality. Plus, you're divine. You have the entire fucking divine world fighting for you. You have God, source, energy, angels, ancestors fighting on your behalf with a spiritual court. Okay? Like, in the ethers, spiritual court, like, that shit's real. Evil people can't get away with hurting innocent people anymore. Can't happen. As long as you fight for you, the divine fights for you. But you have to fight for you. You have to say shit like, I dare you to come at me. I dare you to come after me with a lawsuit. I dare you to come after me with child support. I dare you to come after me to take my kids. I dare you to come after me. I dare you. It's something like you have to be so confident and bold that the universe agrees with you and sends in like divine beings to fight for you on your behalf, right? The spirit world itself will be the one fighting on your behalf, like through the lawyers or through the court system or through that person just dropping the charges, whatever. But you have to fight for you so the divine can fight for you, because the divine believes in free will and offers free will. God offers free will. They cannot impose. They don't fight for you unless you fight for you. And you best believe that me as a divine feminine, I don't fight for you or our connection unless you fight for you and our connection. Point fucking blank. I'm out. I will leave so fast and make your head spin. Deuces, I'm out. So if you want the spiritual guidance that I bring, if you want the divine messages from the divine feminines all across the planet that these high priestesses bring, you want the karma to end, your pain and suffering to end, you want more money in your bank account, you want a better job, you better put your head out of your ass, start being grateful for the fact that these divine beings who are messengers are here to assist you. Instead of vilifying them, demonizing them, villainizing, that's the word, villainizing them, you should probably actually be grateful. that you have someone in your corner that powerful. Unless you don't want someone in your corner that's powerful, then make up your mind, because you do have to decide divine masculine. That's your message for today. Have a good day, guys.